Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Senator Durbin. And I wanted to clarify, I guess, with you, Professor Wong, one more thing. When we're talking about dreamers and people with temporary status, TPS, and deferred enforced departure, are we talking about people seeking asylum at the southern border right now?
No, we're not.
Okay, and what in fact are we talking about?
We are talking about people who are currently in the country, who have grown up in this country, who have known nothing but this country. The DREAM Act population is distinct from the flows that we're seeing at the southern border.
Okay, thank you. I guess I would start with you, Ms. Pacheco. Thank you so much for your testimony. I just want to use one example from my state. Carlos, he was brought to the U.S. when he was 7 months old, and he discovered when he was 11 that he was undocumented. And in high school, he received numerous awards for academic excellence. He was captain of the varsity soccer team. He earned a scholarship. He attended Carleton College in Minnesota. He was granted DACA status, and today he works at a law firm. Stories like his are why I support a pathway to citizenship for dreamers. They know no other country. Can you talk about why this pathway is so critical?
Well, it's critical not just for the DACA recipients and those that are fully undocumented for the dreamers, but it's also critical for our country. Today, we have teachers, nurses, doctors, you name it, working and supporting in our economy. What would it be if we were to lose DACA in the middle of the school year and an elementary school teacher has to leave her classroom? That would be a detriment not only to her, but her children and the whole entire community that depends on her to educate those kids.
Okay, and then I guess one example, since you brought up police officers. Officer, I want to thank you for your service. You've been here for 20 years. Next week is Police Week, when we honor you and others who serve in uniform. You testified that if DACA were to end, your career in law enforcement would end. I'm well aware, carrying the cops bill, how much of a shortage we have right now in officers. Beyond your service, there's just a shortage in retaining and in getting officers and keeping them in the field. What has it been like to live with this uncertainty professionally, and talk about why you chose law enforcement when you could choose many other careers?
Like I mentioned in my story, everything happened that day of the car accident when I was with my mom and my other sister. There are another vehicle struck us where we were driving. The way the officer explained to us everything and he talked to us, he could just be like, I'm not going to help you, and just don't explain anything. And by the fact that he knew that my mother did not speak English and my English wasn't very well, he decided to start speaking Spanish to us. So by seeing that, that's what encouraged me to be like, I want to be able to do the same. I want to be able to help my community that I grew up with and help the rest of the people here. So that's why I chose to become a police officer.
Did you ever meet that officer again and tell him that he was your inspiration?
I have not seen him, but the day that comes, hopefully one day, I get to see him again and I can let him know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professor Wong, in your testimony, you talk about the economic impact of dreamers. One estimate, dreamers contribute an estimated $45 billion to the U.S. economy and through their wages, and pay $13 billion annually in taxes. You testified that with a pathway to citizenship, dreamers would add $2.5 billion per year in additional state and local tax revenue. Explain that and what these economic consequences are.
Yeah, that 2.5 billion number is actually a conservative estimate. So it assumes an 8.5% increase in wages post legalization. So when we're thinking about projecting economic benefits, we are thinking about what life is like economically for an undocumented person versus somebody who has legal status and can fully participate in the economy. So that $2.5 billion additional revenue per year is a conservative estimate because that 8.5% is on the very low end of what we've seen DACA recipients produce. We actually see that DACA recipients have increased wages up to 164%. So that means that the projected increase in revenue could be significantly higher than existing economic projections.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Nobles, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm a strong supporter of more security at the border and hoping we can merge some of these issues and get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. I'd like to clarify one thing that is raised by Senator Cornyn about the effective date of those arrival in this country and eligibility. I introduced the